Welcome to the halfway point of the rehab season on the Sloppy Horror Podcast. Old Man Winter has reared his head and we are in desperate need to warm things up a bit. So today, we will be discussing one of the best examples of practical effects used in a scary movie. That flick is none other than John Carpenter's 1982 horror sci-fi, The Thing. The story of The Thing plays on multiple fears: isolation, limitations of science, and then the obvious fears associated with alien creatures. Many horror films can lead its viewer to ask themselves, what would they do in the situation played out on the silver screen? There are few that do it as well as The Thing. Better in acting, with a rich story laced with unbelievable special effects, hand-delivered by a horror god. There is a reason why this movie is at the forefront of the genre. It stood the test of time, and it's still as watchable as ever 39 years later. It's my honor to finally get a chance to unpack this legendary film. So if you're here with us, make yourself comfortable and get ready, because here is our take on The Thing. Boom! Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion, Christian Ramey, and back again for another week, clapping them cheeks, the best producer in the whole wide world, Mr. Ozark Mark. Mr. Ozark Mark, you heard about The Thing.
Oh, The Thing?
Yeah, look. Did you talk to the guy about The Thing?
The Thing?
Thing number one or thing number two? Look here.
Okay, look, here's The Thing, okay? I got a really bad case of low tide right now, so... Okay, so for those who don't know what low tide is, okay, it's the stankiest fucking farts, okay? It's the warm ones, too, that are silent and kind of like, you know, make you feel like you wet yourself a little bit. Yeah, I got a case of low tide right now, but that's okay, because we're talking about The Thing.
And
The
Ozark,
Thing.
luckily for you, because today's Saturday. Usually we record on Thursdays. I was a little under the weather last couple days. Everything's fine. I bounced back. I got kids. They're like sponges for diseases, dude. They just bring disease into your house from schools because kids are gross. And that's okay. Not a big deal. But I'm sick, or I was sick, and I can't smell anything. So you low tide away, brother. I can't smell shit down here. Like,
Dude, that's good, because I'm telling you, you know it's bad when you can't stand the smell of it. You know
when you're
what I
like
mean?
trying to escape it.
Yeah. Like, dude, I was on the car ride over here, and one lit off. Like, oh, God. But I can't roll down the window because it's fucking cold as shit outside. Tell you what.
That's why this is an appropriate movie,
Oh, man,
Mark.
I'm telling you. It was warm yesterday, but now it is for reason. So, we are talking about today, Christian Ramey, one of the greatest movies, I think, as horror movies. This movie is timeless. It is great. It still holds up today.
Yes.
Now, of course, this is a different version of the 1950 version, The Thing from it's based off that. But
Correct.
This is John
Correct.
Carpenter's The Thing from 1982.
That's right.
And what I'm impressed by this movie, I've always been impressed by this movie, of how well it holds up. It's a movie from 1982. That is almost...
It's older than us.
How old is that? 1982. It's 2021 now. So that is...
I mean, it's almost 40 years old.
40 years old. And for a movie to hold up after 40 years is incredible. It's incredible.
It is, dude. Like, doing the special effects and the makeup was Rob Bottin. He's legendary. He did, amazing work. There's the spider head in this. There's the stomach chomp. There's all kinds of stuff that I can't wait to just really to dive into. But as we like to do for you folks, if you have not seen this movie, I will do my best to give you a quick synopsis so you have an idea of what the hell we're talking about. So, we have some researchers, some scientists, and they're in Antarctica, right? That's where they're supposed to be, even though it's like filmed Alaska, British Columbia, then some north of Vancouver. Like, they were all over in Canada.
Well, I think they looked for Canada, but they couldn't really find, because they were looking for a place that looked like Antarctica.
Yes.
I mean...
So
at first, when I first saw this movie, I'm like, damn, they had to do a lot of work to get all that snow out there. It's like, no, they actually went to a cold-ass place. Like, that place is a real place. Real snow, real cold,
Planet
everything.
Hoth, dude, like Star Wars planet. Well, anyways, you have all these researchers here Well, they're just hanging out on their base. Then all of a sudden, one day a helicopter comes strolling in, shooting people, shooting at a dog, right? And they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. A guy got shot. They end up having to kill a guy because there was a crazy... And they find out that this guy was Norwegian. He was a scientist too. And they're like, what the hell's going on here? They knew the Norwegians had a base camp north, or I believe it was north of where they were at. So they're like, look, what the hell's going on? We're going to fly out there and see what's going on. Kurt Russell's character, he plays questionably one of the coolest characters ever, R.J. McCready. And he's like, all right, we're going to figure out what's going on. They fly over to this base camp to find this giant, like, crater, to find some weird shit. They found out that things went bad. There was fire, things were burned, nobody's alive, shit's bad. But they find this, like, weird creature thing that they bring back. Or it's like a weird corpse. It's kind of like burnt up. Well, they find out that this shit's still alive, and they figured out slowly but surely what went wrong at that base camp. This creature, the thing, what it does is it can take over whatever living thing it is and kind of imitate it. So long enough, it could become you. And it very much reminds me of like Venom. Like if you're familiar with that, like in the Spider-Man world. What do they call those? Not Cenobites or Hellraiser, but they called them like something cool, the symbiotes or some shit. I forget what they called them. They were pretty cool, but I like that term. But it takes over Venom, and it's like you're pretty much him. And it's the same thing with the thing. Well, it gets crazy because it just plays on downright trust of human beings, because nobody trusts each other because they all think they're the thing. It tries to become one of the dogs. It does. They have to kill the dogs. It ends up becoming some of the people. It gets crazy. It becomes like a whodunit. It's like a mystery game of Clue the whole time because nobody trusts anybody because they're afraid of this creature. And it's suspenseful. It's cold. It's fucking... I don't know, man. Like, you're right. It still holds up. And it's got some rich acting, too. Like, aside from, like, the great special effects, there is some great just scenes between 2-3 actors.
And that's all you need in it. I mean, that's what makes movies great and rewatchable is the acting and the story. Like, the story is awesome.
It is, dude.
It's great because it plays, and it also plays on a lot of fears. Like you said, it plays on, who done it. There's mystery, paranoia, distrust for one another, and crazy. Like, it's scary. Like, I mean, that's pretty fearful that there's some kind of being that you burn and can't die on damn near, and it takes over your body, and you don't know who is who.
People don't trust people enough. No. And then, like, the limitations of science are always scary. It breaks down, like, even with The Exorcist, like, is this girl, like, possessed, or is, like, the doctor, or are the doctors just not helping enough? Like, that's a crazy line to play with. And, like, in this movie, The Thing, you see, they do it very practically. It's not like a comedy movie, like, where, whoa, it's big alien. Like, they see this, like, it's like as real people would react. And some of them are funny because of that, because grown men are just funny in the way, like, if they're scared. Mm-hmm. And, like, if you see sometimes when grown men are, that's just funny.
The arguing is great in it, too.
Oh, yes. Now, I'm not going to ask you your favorite part right away, but do you have a favorite character?
Yes, I do.
They're all great, man. They all have their own twist to them. It's hard for me to even pick. I love McCready, obviously.
Yeah, Kurt Russell McCready's he's awesome.
Childs.
Who's the guy when they're down to the final two? Who's that black guy? I forget which one's
Childs.
That.
Yeah, Childs.
Okay,
yeah.
Childs. I love that actor. He's
Keith
always
David.
great. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm sorry, there's like 12 of them.
I know, dude.
Keep track of them. But I've always liked his acting, and he's great. Yeah,
he's got such a cool voice.
He does have a great voice, and he's one of the last ones to survive, so that's cool too. And he would be my favorite there.
I love how they ended that though too, with that just like.
Dude, the ending is nuts because I mean he goes off, and you don't know he goes off, and you think now he's the thing. Like as soon as he runs off, the power dies out. And it turns out that Dr. Blair, old guy, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. He was down there building. He was the thing. And, he started building a ship down there. And they figured out that, when it was down to the final ones that he was in, and they finally get him and they killed him. But Childs shows up after McGrady blows the entire place up. And they're pretty much screwed. He just sits down, and it leaves you that mystery because it's just them two left. Like, is Childs the thing now? Is McGrady? It's the mystery, and it just leaves you like that. And that's what it. They said there's a behind the scenes things that you showed me, and he said, John Carpenter leaves. You see a lot of practicality in the movie, but it's up to you let your imagination do the rest.
He fixed. I'm telling you, we've complimented him on the monster problem, like with Halloween.
Yeah.
Not only does he leave it ambiguous, like you're like, man, that's what makes it scary. You're like, wait, they shot Michael Myers 6 times, but he didn't die. Where'd he go? But who is he really? What's that mask? What is this all about? Leaves you with questions. The thing leaves you with questions. That's way scarier.
Now I'm going to ask you this: how do you? I think they killed the thing at the end.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Childs is the thing.
I don't think so either.
Because honestly, like the things, well, maybe, but that's the thing. It could be because his goal was to get frozen. He wanted to be frozen. The thing wanted to be frozen again because it didn't want to die. Its choice is to survive. And that's the only way it can survive is to freeze until the rescue team comes and unfreezes it again. But I feel like the thing would have killed Kurt Russell.
I do too, because they were in close proximity of each other.
Close proximity, and I think
they both look super skeptical.
They do, but McGrady doesn't show threat to Childs, and that's when they did the blood test. Is when it feels threatened, it attacks.
Yeah,
but McGrady didn't threaten Childs.
Hey, real quick, you remember that South Park episode where everybody got lice and they did this test? They referenced this movie.
Yeah.
And Cartman's like, we'll figure it out. And they found out everybody had lice.
That blood test scene was awesome.
It was.
It was cool because it also gave you a relief as a viewer. Too, because you're like, all right, now we finally know how. Now we can tell. So now we're getting somewhere.
Explain to the viewer if they haven't seen what the blood test is all about.
Sure. Okay. So they've been doing a lot of research, and Dr. Blair's on his little computer, and he's starting to figure out the molecular cell system that the thing has. It's still unexplainable, but he's trying to figure it out. So he comes up with a blood test to figure out who is the thing and who's not the thing, because if you're the thing, it takes over your blood. You really don't have normal blood anymore. Mm-hmm. It will become something else. I forget. It's all scientific stuff. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But so McGrady has the idea of getting a blood sample from everybody in a little dish and getting a piece of wire, heating up that wire, and putting the scalding hot wire into the blood. So, like I said, when the thing feels threatened, it will
surface.
It will surface, try to defend itself and survive, because that's its number one goal, is to survive. So, and that blood is a part of the thing, no matter where it is. That's how it can survive and take over and go like 3 fucking places at once, because it's all
It's like
one
when you
big
cut
thing.
a worm in half. It still is like moving on both ends.
Exactly. So the dish is, once you put that flame in there, if you're not the thing, if you're not infected with the thing, nothing happens. But if you are the thing, it'll just like jump up, go, and then show itself, and then attack it. So there's a complete scene where they got everybody tied down.
Who's that Palmer that was just like, like, because they found out it was him?
Yeah, and they found out it was Palmer, and then he just gets up, and then he kills Windows, and he's just flinging him around like a rag doll, man. That was hilarious.
Windows might be my favorite character.
Windows is funny.
He says, hey, when that dude came up to him, Windows is on the radio, like, sleeping, like, he's right next to a calling station, or, like, he can call out, and the guy said, hey, have you still been calling for help? He says, hey, man. He says, we're 1,000 miles from anybody. We're not going to get a hold of nobody. He's like, his attitude's like...
He's like, look, this is pointless. But back to that blood scene. It's the best one is because I think it was... Who's the guy? Final guy that they tested? The old guy. He's had the keys. I think he had keys to the blood. Was that Palmer or Clark?
Clark.
Old guy.
No,
He's the guy
no.
who shot the first Norwegian guy. Old guy.
I believe I put keys to blood.
Okay, that's Gary, I believe.
Gary.
Okay, so Gary's the old guy, kind of sergeant guy.
Yeah, Gary. That's right.
And they test him last, and he's tied down, and he had the best line in the whole movie. So after they test his blood, they see that he's fine. It does go. He's like, fine. He's like, now, he's like, I can tell that you've gentlemen been through a lot these past few moments, but it would be nice if I couldn't spend the rest of the time in this goddamn fucking couch.
I tell you another great line is too, because the guy that gets his arms bit off, because there's a great scene. No, it's actually not the guy who gets his arms bit off. It's the guy who bit the guy's arms off. Well, anyways, his head becomes separated from his body. But the thing is taken over his body.
Yeah.
So, like, the head kind of crawls away because it's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it eventually becomes the infamous spider head. And it crawls throughout. Dude's like, you got to be fucking kidding.
Yeah. And then they torch him. He's just trying to sneak out of there. And then, they finally get him.
It's just so calm, but, like, at the same time, like, how somebody would be like, you got to be fucking kidding.
Oh, that's the perfect line. That's the only thing you could say. And that's what makes it more a little bit believable. And you could put yourself in it, and it sucks you in because, I mean, it reminds me of Blair Witch a little bit. That's what we talked about.
That.
Like, they're doing almost everything that you would think that you could do at this moment in time. Find the thing, burn it, bury the shit, and try to, survive.
Yeah, man. That's so wild to think about, though. If you really think about it, somewhere in the ice out there's got to be some weird shit. Maybe not the thing, but there's got to be some crazy stuff in the ice out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Every time I watch this, I kind of think about that because it's not like these things happen all the time, but it's just like it's definitely a fear. And even though it's an all-male cast, I would assume girls could get into this movie as well. But, like, as a male, it does have, like, nobody's trying to be too macho. Everybody's trying to have each other's back. But at the same time, it comes to a point where it's like, fuck you, dude. Like, it's you versus me. And, like, right when it first happened, Dr. Blair, he was the one that was getting hip. And Clark, that's the guy that had all the dogs. And the dog became one. Mm-hmm. But then he was like, how long were you with that dog? And he started to get skeptical right away. And he's like, why? Because Clark didn't know. Clark got killed, and he wasn't even a thing.
No.
McCready
he just tested McGrady's.
He shot his ass right in the head.
Absolutely. That dog scene kind of pissed me off, though. At first, I was like, man, why you got to do the dogs? You know what I mean? There's always a soft spot in your heart when they fuck with dogs in movies. Of course, they weren't damaged in any way. I mean, a dog maybe got sprayed with water. Like, big deal. Like, you ever give a dog a bath? Like, it's not that big of a deal, but it just sucks seeing all them dogs. The dogs have to go first. Like, come on, man.
I tell you what was sweet to see was, like, the dog thing creature. That was pretty badass.
That was intense because no CGI. This is all special effects. This is all handmade things. Like, the amount of time it took somebody to make that, you got to appreciate that. And not the fact just of that, like, the filming location, like, there was a hotel miles away. Like, they're literally on an icy road going up there with a bus, working 10 hours just to entertain people for 2 hours. Like, that's nuts. You're freezing your fucking nuts off trying to make a film. Like,
Christian won't be in this movie.
No, you won't.
Bro, you're going to have to give me $10 million, like, for me to consider this. Like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I would have been like, oh, we're actually going somewhere? Oh. Or do we got, like, trailers there? Well.
No, I don't think they had. They just had that building.
We got fire.
There's some times where I don't think they could leave because the storm got too bad. So they just stay there.
Yeah, I saw
Maybe
that they were
so.
partying together and stuff, trying not to get cabin fever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's cool, man. You could definitely see that they all had a bond together.
Oh, yeah. But you know what is another cool thing is the flamethrowers
Oh, yeah,
were
dude.
real. Those are real flamethrowers. The dynamite explosions, all real. All of this shit, they used real stuff.
This movie made me feel like growing up that flamethrowers were more prevalent in life because, like, they're just using them throughout this whole thing. Like, you just, oh, everybody, there's flamethrowers. If there's some base of some sort, they gotta have flamethrowers. And I don't know if that's the case. Maybe it's because it's cold there, and that makes sense, and they might have to melt some shit. I don't know. But they used them a lot in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, damn, man, I just want to try it for the one time, like just once.
No, I just want to burn something.
Yeah, like even if I just had to start a bonfire, like that'd be really fun to try. Like, let me try it out.
Oh, dude,
I know, right?
I want a flamethrower.
Right? I think Elon Musk sells them.
You wouldn't have to shovel your driveway anymore. Just go out there with a flamethrower and melt it.
Mm-hmm. I think they said it'll crack your shit though.
Will it?
Yeah.
Oh. Whatever. You rent the place. Who gives a
Yeah,
shit?
who cares? Just crack it to bits.
I know.
You know what else this movie made me think? And it's not the case. It's probably the opposite. But tell me it didn't look easier to drive a helicopter in like the South Pole land because everything's just like snow and it had those giant like bumper things on the rails where it's like everything just looked like different. Like it looked like that would be super cool to fly in. Like, not like crazy storm conditions, but just like the soft snow and like just being able to just like...
And I don't know why that scenery is so beautiful because it's really nothing. It's just all snow.
And it's fucking miserable.
It's miserable snow, but watching from the comfort of your couch, watching that scenery, it's beautiful.
It made me feel like I could fly that helicopter.
It makes me want to go to Antarctica and enjoy it, but then I'm like, no, like that's pointless. I'd rather just sit here. You know, and the couch.
I can't deal with the Ohio winters, bro. I don't know if I could just. I can't deal with it. So, I got that effect too, man. I thought, hey, I could do this. I could fly this helicopter. Not the case.
That's cool, man. They got flamethrowers, explosions, like I said, and they got helicopters too. Like, nuts, man. The amount of money, amount of time invested in something.
And John Carpenter was on a little roll at this point. He had already done The Fog and Halloween, so people were, he had a little name for himself, and he was working his way up the rungs of success there. And that's kind of cool. That, even though, I guess the way it worked is there's a short story, or a book, I'm sorry, that the thing from Beyond was the 50s movie. That movie was based off that book, and then this was also based off that book. So they're just kind of loosely based off of that story, but it's cool for John to take something like that and bring it to life, because a lot of those old school directors that we grew up with, like Wes Craven and John Carpenter, George A. Romero, they grew up on those old Universal monsters. That's what they would stay up late and watch. And you can I don't know. It's just good for John that he was able to take something from his childhood and like make it his own, because it's not like, like we said, it's not a remake by any means. It's just kind of like a dash of the same thing. So I don't know, man. It's definitely one of John Carpenter's best movies. I'm not going to say it's his best, but it's one of his best.
No, it's definitely up there. Especially, being from 1982.
Yeah.
Like, that's just amazing to me,
I collect those Fangorias, but they collected like Famous Monsters of Hollywood Land, or of Filmland, I'm sorry. Famous Monsters of Filmland. And these magazines they had all like the Frankenstein pictures and Dracula pictures, stuff like that. And those guys had a different taste for horror. And then they were able to be in the 70s and 80s with all these different practical and special effects. So they were actually they were able to bring the stuff to life. Whereas film in the 40s, 50s, they had a lot of limitations. Or the 30s even, with the monster flicks. So this is a monster movie, but it doesn't feel right saying it's a monster movie, because it's not like a Frankenstein or something. This is like a creature movie.
Yeah, this is like kind of like sci-fi. Sci-fi kind of deal.
But not space sci-fi.
Technically, yes, but I mean, it's not in space. Like, it's something from space.
Yes.
But it's not like an outer space themed movie. But I guess technically it's sci-fi because you're dealing with aliens or whatever the fuck that thing is.
The solitude and like the isolation you feel, it's weird because you feel isolated and the movie gets like smaller and smaller, kind of caves in on you. It's one of those kind of deals. But they're in like a wide open area, if that makes sense. Like you said, like the middle of nowhere. There's nothing there.
Yeah, and of course they got a big storm out there, gonna get 100 below. So I mean,
100 below.
Where are you gonna go?
Bruh.
You gotta go nowhere. And then you're ultimately fucked because he destroys the generator.
100 below.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
No. No. Like,
dude, there's this town. I think it gets like -70. It's like the coldest town in the world. I forget what it's called. But yeah.
God bless you.
Woo.
God bless you.
That one hurt the shoulders. My goodness.
I think
gracious.
Mark's the thing. We'll test his blood later.
Yeah.
So Mark.
Yeah.
Your answer for your favorite character is going to be Childs. I'm probably going to go with Windows. But there's a lot of education to this movie, and I don't want to get lost. Honestly, I just want to find stuff out. I want to find out what you know.
Yeah. Welcome to the What Do You Know here. This is a segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie, The Thing. We're here to talk about The Thing. Now let's listen up about this thing. We're going to tell you about The Thing. We're going to tell you things we know about The Thing. Now, you may know what we know, you may not know what we know, but if you don't know what we know, you're going to find out what we know, and you're going to have a we know-gasm. But if you already know and we're going to know together, then you're going to have a we know-gasm too, and it's going to be an orgy between the people that know, did not know, now they know, and you become one. So that's how it goes there. So, I'm going to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie. Check it out. So, there's a part in this movie here. Stop doing that. What the fuck are you?
I feel like Master Roshi from Dragon Ball. You remember when Jafar tried to trick Aladdin when he was in the cave? It was the old guy. That's
yeah,
how I
you
feel.
do. I fucking love Jafar.
He's a good.
Anyway,
guy.
okay, so anyway, there's a scene in the movie, okay, where this guy, he gets both of his fucking arms ripped off from the elbow out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The secret to this is they used a guy who was a double amputee. Which means he was already missing his forearms anyway. So what they did was they put prosthetics on there, you know what I mean? They filled it in with guts and blood and gush and yogurt or whatever else the fuck you put in there. And then they ripped him off. And then bam, he was an amputee once again. So that's, you know, something you may not know. That's how they did that. It's all real. You know what I mean? That was a real amputee.
That's good stuff.
I wonder how he masturbates.
That's a good thing. I bet you fleshlights were a great invention.
Do you think he has a special arm that's just like a circle?
He might.
It's very interesting. Or maybe,
I imagine he might just buy fruit.
Maybe he just does it like starting a campfire and just rubs two sticks together or something.
He might just buy a nice fruit and just hollow it out.
Yeah, like a grapefruit or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's got to be tough. But
Okay.
that's kind of badass that
you know,
you could be used in a movie for.
Yeah, you know, that's something for your ass. All right.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me? You know anything about this movie here?
I do. So here's some special effects stuff I got for you. So, special effects artist Rob Bottin was the guy who made all the special effects in this. But he went so hard in the paint. Like, this guy got pneumonia. He had ulcers.
Yeah, pneumonia?
Yeah,
What the hell's pneumonia?
pneumonia.
Oh, okay, pneumonia.
He was sick, so he needed some assistance, and he had people help him. Uncredited, Sam Winston helped him out. That's the makeup guy that did Edward Scissorhands. He did Aliens, Predator, and the guy went, Sam Winston went uncredited. Just, to help out a pal. And he says, no, it's Rob's movie. So there you go. That's a nice little fact. It's a friend helping a friend, and he didn't even want the credit. He says, "Look here, you got the pneumonia. I want to help you."
That's pretty fucking interesting.
It is.
Wow.
You know anything else?
Yeah, I know something else. So check this out, right? Okay. So the main actor, Mr. McGrady, played by the infamous Kurt Russell. Okay. Now we explain maybe in this movie how they use real flamethrowers and real dynamite. This motherfucker was using real dynamite.
Oh wow.
Real dynamite. He almost blew his fucking ass up. There was one part where he threw it too late or something, you know, like he thinks he's playing with firecrackers. He actually blew him back. Like he almost killed himself trying to entertain you.
You know, that would have been funny to see, since he didn't die, you know, it would have been funny to see his... That's one of them ones where you pop up like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's an eye-opener for sure.
I escaped death.
Yes, you did. Wow.
That's a lot of facts.
That's a great amount of facts here for the thing. Harry Potter. Stop. Okay, we gotta get out of here. So we'll see you later. Goodbye now.
Wait, Mark.
What?
Let's just hypothetically, let's just put ourselves in the situation
Okay.
of scientists in Antarctica, and you're like with like 12 dudes, and you're like locked up.
Right.
Are y'all beating off all the time, or do you think it's just kind of like, you know, you kind of chill out on all that because you're just hanging out?
I don't know, man. It's probably just go to the bathroom. That's the only door with a guaranteed lock.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Do you think, like, what do you think their numbers are? Just like a one a day or like once a week? Or do you think they're like getting crazy because they're all locked up in the snow?
I don't know, man. You probably get bored.
Yeah.
Something to do, but then again, there's not a lot of material. I mean, just your imagination, really, and that can get annoying. I think you get tired of it, but definitely. I mean, then it's 12 dudes. There is some kind of masturbation at some point happening in that building. Okay, there is.
I like how McReady just like
he has his own bungalow up there, away from everybody, getting drunk. You telling me that, dude?
Yeah, JB Scotch.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Drinking there, you tell me you go real quick. All right. Especially, you know, uncontrollable one. You just get the urge, just pops up out of nowhere. You get that weird rubbing between your legs when you're moving and starts getting friction going. You just take care of it real quick, clear your mind, and get on with your day.
Yep. You got to keep moving forward.
It's a very normal thing.
Yeah. Sometimes it just be like that.
So yes, to answer your question, Christian Ramey, yes, if there were 12 scientists out in Antarctica locked up, there are definitely some kind of masturbation form going on in there. Probably not with each other, but hey.
Afraid to catch this beard on fire.
That's great. All right, so let's move on to something here, Christian Ramey. I want to know what your favorite part of the movie The Thing is, 1982.
There are quite a few.
I'm sure there are, but you need to pick one. If you had to look up a clip of it right now, when you're bored out there, smoke a cig on break or something.
I really enjoy, because the lighting is beautiful in this, and Rob Bottin was very particular about the lighting on all of his work, because I mean, as you've stated before, lighting's everything when it comes to making movies, and the dude understood his props and he understood what needed to be done. But when what's his name? Not Childs, the other black dude. What's his
Oh man, Bennings?
No, not Bennings. It starts
Knowles?
with Knowles. Yeah, Knowles.
Knowles.
When he and McReady are like out in the cold, and then Knowles makes it back first, and he says, "I had to cut McReady. I found," because what the thing will do is it will like take your name tag off of your clothes if it takes over you, like it takes over your identity. Well, they found. Knowles found McReady's uniform ripped up with the name tag off. So he's like, oh shit, he must be one. So he gets back and he tells them, he's like, I had to cut McReady. I think he's one of them. Everybody's like, McReady? Fuck. Like, you know,
That's the one guy you don't think is going to become one. It's fucking Kurt Russell, right? Mm-hmm. So he comes back in, and he's not one. And he's fucking freezing, and he's got this look about him. He's got, like, snow and ice on his beard, and it's got these really cool, like, red lights. But he's, like, real skeptical, but he says, get back. Way back. like he comes in there and he's like, you guys thought you were gonna, like, you know, he was real like, I got you motherfuckers. You guys tried to kill me out there. You guys were trying to have a lynching party, weren't you? Mm-hmm. And the tone of it was just so crazy and cool because you thought he was gonna come in and be one of those things, but you actually, because the first time, if you're watching it for the first time, you really are wondering, like, what the hell is going on? Like, who is who? You're really trying to guess. So, I don't know. I really enjoyed that scene coming back. The practical effects were really great, too. Obviously, the stomach scene, it remains up there. It's just a fun scene, man.
Yeah.
It opens up. It has teeth.
Yeah, it's one of the high points of the movie.
You just don't forget it.
No. Mm-mm.
What about you, Mark? What's your favorite part?
It's hard to say. I'm going to pick the segment of when they go to the Norwegian base. When McGrady and Doc...
And he keeps calling them Swedish at first.
Yeah.
He says, you want to go save these Swedes? They're like, they're Norwegian.
They get there, and you get there, and I mean, what they had, first of all, what they had to do to create all of this was pretty fucking intense because you had to create a whole nother base and make it look destroyed. So the scenery was cool. It was very suspenseful. You're starting to figure out, like, it's starting to answer the ultimate question. And it's weird because once you see the ending, it's like you're looking into the future. This is what is going to happen to them. Mm-hmm. And then, but you finally get an answer and they finally see the thing, and all
dun,
that.
Dun.
So, it finally gives you the premise of what's going on, what's happening, and gets you ready for what's to come. Just cool scenery and all that stuff. So it's really cool. I enjoyed that part because that's finally what, finally is kicking off the movie for you. Now you're in it. Now you're in deep. This is the one that really caught. This is when I started becoming glued to the screen, is what happens when they come back.
Yeah. So. I also, too, when Childs, because, like, when they first bring it up, when Dr. Blair brings it up, everybody's, like, kind of like, fuck you. Well, Childs is like, you believe in all this voodoo shit? Like, asking everybody. And that's when the paranoia starts to kick in. So that is kind of cool to, I don't know, that is a lot of fun. And I don't know how we've gone this long, because John Carpenter, obviously a legendary music maker, too. He does great with the scores. This score is so fucking simple, and it works so well. It's dun-dun.
Dun, dun.
And it works, dude.
Oh, yeah, because that's all you need.
Yeah, it's like less than Jaws.
It's just
works.
ambience. All you hear is the whoo, like the wind, no music. I'm a big fan of segments in movies with no music and just ambient noise. Mm-hmm. And we get that in there,
subtlety,
too.
like.
Yeah, but you're right, that dun-dun.
Yeah, like.
Dun-dun. You're like, oh shit, what's happening? Something's about to
You're almost like mad
down.
at John Carpenter for how simple it is and how effective. You're like, dude, like, that's it. He has the recipe down for how to make a spooky flick. Just
yeah. It'll piss you off like a kid on YouTube just opening presents and making $1 million. Like, it's equal to that. Like, that's it? Like, that's all you got to do? You just opened something and now you got $1 million? Oh, John Carpenter, all you win is... You son of a bitch. Like, you just made a multi-million-dollar fucking score. God damn it.
Yeah. It's just so powerful. It's just a very powerful thing. And there is something about the snow climate. The Shining does that, too. It just gives you this weird, like, you're alone, and nature gives no doesn't care about your feelings at all.
No,
like,
Mother Nature is ruthless.
It does. It's just, you will freeze out here.
Oh, yeah.
Like Jack Torrance in the snow. We don't care. Man, that is freaky. All right, so we got favorite parts down. We have favorite characters down. Mark, let's be honest here. Mm-hmm. how many John Carpenter movies do you think we've done thus far? I know we've done Halloween. Isn't that crazy? Like, sometimes you do so many movies, you forget which ones you've done until you look back. Like, there's movies that we've done where I'm like, I go back like, oh yeah, we did cover that one already. Not the big ones, but some randoms.
I don't know, dude.
We need to cover The Fog. That's a must.
Sure.
Because with all the scores that he lays down and with all the impact that he had, especially at this time frame in the early 80s, and this didn't get a lot of great reviews from critics and others as well because E.T. was hot. And they wanted the thing to be E.T. And it's not.
Well,
this
you
isn't
can't.
family
It's
kid
horror.
friendly.
No,
Yeah.
it's not, man. Horror is only limited. Horror has a limit. There's a ceiling that
Yes.
you can hit. I mean, he hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, he threw it, and it's stuck. Like, it's still up there on the ceiling. Like, it can't go any higher than what it is. Unfortunately. But that's what happens when you make something that doesn't appeal to everybody. That can't appeal to everybody, which is fine.
You know, I let my, I was watching this with my 3-year-old, but just one of those things where she just walks in when I'm watching something, and I'm like, you don't watch this. But she started laughing. She started laughing, at some of the stuff, so it didn't really bother her. And I was like, all right, this is pretty funny. Because it's like...
it's because I don't think she actually understands the fear of it.
Yeah, and she doesn't, like... It's not real. That's not, like, a real monster. I think, like, people are scary to kids. Like, monsters, they have to have, like, even a Freddy, a Jason. They're, like, human-like. The Thing, dude, it's...
Yeah.
There's fluids. There's all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, look at this. Isn't that crazy looking? And she's just kind of, like, laughing, too. I mean, she's doing her own thing, playing with her toys. But I need to... I always like to catch up on the movies. But I just thought that was funny, man. Some of the things... Like, Gremlins was on the week before. She did the same thing and came in like that. I don't want to watch this. Gremlins. But I guess she's invested more into that story because she understood it more.
Yeah.
Whereas The Thing, she's just like...
Yeah, this is
what
something...
is this?
You got to understand it. The understanding of the story is main fear than the actual thing itself. Mm-hmm. Thing itself ain't scary.
No.
It's what the thing does and everything else. The isolation, the not trust, it could be anybody at any time is what's fucking scary.
And people don't trust each other enough. Sorry to cut you off.
No, speaking of scary, Christopher Ramey, this is a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
Right. And we got to rate it.
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah!
You could be a voice effects guy.
Hello.
Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Rating, everybody. This is a segment where we are going to rate this horror movie, okay? Now, when we're going to rate this horror movie, we're going to rate it as a horror movie, not a movie in general. So please keep that in mind. That's a little disclaimer there for your ass. Now, here we go. We're going to do this in a series of 4 categories. 3 categories worth 3 points. Last category is worth 1 point for a total of
10 points altogether.
That's correct. So, get your hand out of your pants. Get ready for this. Let's go into the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
Mark, I'm going to tell you right now. Some movies fall victim to our rating, and I love that you give that disclaimer because it is very important. And as like certain movies in general, we gave Suspiria a 6 out of 10, but Suspiria is a great movie. I love Suspiria. So I don't ever want anybody to hold it to their heart and be offended because I'm really going as a horror movie with a lot of these. The Thing is going to benefit from this rating just because casting, dude. Holy shit, all the way down the line. Great. All the way down the line.
Let's read them off, okay? We got Kurt Russell, Keith David, Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, I mean, that's so funny. The Dr. Blair is the diabetes guy.
Dog guy, yeah.
He is.
He is that diabetes guy.
Yeah, that's him. I'm Wilford Brimley, and I have diabetes.
He always interrupted your good mood of The Price is Right with his stupid diabetes. But, yeah, it's just that. I mean, Kurt Russell alone,
Exactly,
Keith
dude.
David, just those two in general, but...
All of them work well together.
Oh, absolutely, and that's hard to do when you got 12 guys. all damn near.
Yeah, bro.
Damn near. But
It laid down perfectly. Everybody fed off of each other. Everybody was their own character. Nobody seemed like a dull character. You believed everybody was a character off the screen, if that makes sense.
correct.
Great character build. It wouldn't have worked without that. Like, without casting, this would not have worked. It really relied on the fears of everybody.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you had to rely heavily on acting because that's the 95% of the movie is just them acting.
This is a 3 out of 3 on casting for me. A
3 out of
solid
3.
3 out of 3.
Solid 3 out of 3. Rock hard, full blown 3 out of 3. So that's 3 out of 10 here so far on the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast. Let's go to the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. That is kills.
Mark,
Yes.
the practical effects in this movie are unmatched by a lot. Man, movies I love, like Nightmare on Elm Street, doesn't hold a candle to the practical effects in this. There are practical effects movies that are nuts that can't hold a candle to this. And when I'm in my casket and in my grave, I would have demon creatures take over my soul and kill me if I gave this anything but a 3. I have a spider head crawling around. I have a stomach munch going on. I got dogs turning into separate creatures. I got people getting shot in the head. I got Wilford Brimley taking dude out, like just in the face, just fucking taking him out. There are a whole wide variety of kills, over-the-top kills, that didn't shy away.
Subtle kills, unexpected kills, graphic kills, burning kills.
Yeah.
You know, just regular shot kills, gun kill, everything.
People kills, creature kills, animal kills, which I'm not pumped about the animal kills, but
Those aren't-
animal creature kills kind of... But it adds to the shock of it all. Like, when Michael Myers eats a dog, you're like, bro, that's fucked.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, in a horror movie, you have to have some kind of shock value, and it sucks. But I mean, it makes you uncomfortable, and that's what it does. So obviously, this is a 3. So that's.
And I think the dog kills that you see are like the creature dog. Like, whereas like it just goes and you see like an axe that was in the dog. Like, they find the dead dogs.
Yeah, they don't do it, and they don't kill any dogs on screen.
Yeah, I never want to hear like the yipe, like from a
No.
dog kill. Like, you know, it's not that. It's like a creature dog. The transformations, the half creature, half whatever the hell it was taking over. Insanity, dude. Insanity. Like, I don't know if I could make something like that now. Like, I don't know how they even did that. Like,
No,
from
I don't know
outside
how
of what
you-
I read.
I don't know how you come up with this stuff, man. It's bananas. Bananas. BANNANA bananas. So that, Christian Ramey, is 6 out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's go to the third and final 3-point category here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear.
Here is what each point within the fear category is getting received for.
Okay.
Paranoia.
Paranoia.
People are already paranoid and afraid. And now people don't trust each other because this is life or death. Okay?
Dude, some people trust, like Hannibal Buress said, he's like, some people trust society too much. He's like, I lock the door every time I go to the bathroom.
Right.
I don't trust nobody.
Right.
But yeah, paranoia is something that every single person has.
Exactly. So that's going to be a point for this. We move on to actual creature, like an actual being of something, like a I don't care if it's a Godzilla, a King Kong, a vampire, a werewolf. It's a creature. It's a creepy creature. Okay, so that's adding a whole nother element there, right? So we got a little bit of paranormal.
Stop mixing the two words up.
Paranoia.
You fuck.
I'm sorry.
Paranoia.
Okay. We have a little bit of some creature stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then we have Mother Nature that just says, fuck you. Like, fuck you. Like, I don't...
That's the only way to describe it.
Oh, you guys are having a bad time? Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, fuck you. How's a blanket of snow on your bad day? Is that cool?
Yeah,
Like,
how's a huge ass storm where you can't fly away? That's great. How's negative 100 sound to you? That sounds perfect.
That's why I think this deserves a 3 out of 3, because you're getting it from all different elements. If you're not afraid of people, maybe you're afraid of creatures, and if not, that you might be afraid of a snowstorm. Like there's all, and if you are afraid, if you can have a little fear of all three, that's an accumulation. Like as an adult, like you said, you could sit on the edge of your seat. Now, are you going to piss your pants when you go to sleep? I doubt it. But when you're watching this movie, if you've never seen it before, I guarantee you're going to be like, who the fuck? What is going on right now? Like, you're going to be engaged. I promise you. So, as a horror flick, man, I don't know how you could really hit on the nail harder with trying to deliver fear, because you're giving it from multiple different angles here. Like, you're from the back, and you're lifting the legs up, you're hanging the head off the bed. And
the best part of it is this fear isn't the typical horror fear that you think of when people think of scary movies. Just like the creepy, the jump scares and all that. No, dog.
Not a ghost, not a Dracula.
No, this is just practical, real fear that you will feel. So that's perfect. So that is 9 out of 10. Mm-hmm. After 3 categories on the Sloppy Horror Podcast, let's go on to the final 1-point category. Is do we fucks with this movie for half a point each, Christian Ramey? Now, this is a big decision here. We already got 9 out of 10. So I'll ask you, Christian Ramey, do you fuck with this movie, The Thing, 1982?
Absolutely. John Carpenter in his prime. Ozark Mark, the final choice is down to you to make this perfect horror movie. Is The Thing a good movie? According to Ozark Mark, does he fucks with it?
Dude, the pressure, the tension in the room, like my butthole is cringing. This is intense.
Final countdown.
Oh my goodness. Like the power that I have right now. Of course I fuck with this movie, The Thing. How would you want? Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have the official second perfect horror movie score here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. That is 10 out of 10 for The Thing, John Carpenter, 1982. And what does that say? That says that this is a badass fucking horror movie. And if you never watched it before, I guarantee you better go fucking watch it.
It's everything that you want. It's practical effects, it's acting, it's fear, it's a spooky setting, not a haunted house, but a place that's actually scary, a fucking snow planet, damn near. You're like, I don't want to be there. How do you get out of there?
No, you can't.
You don't.
You're stuck. You're fucked.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. Fucked. And then they like destroyed the helicopter and all kind of stuff. And man, each turn you're going, I just don't know what else you could ask more from a horror film. And then, I mean, the chef's kiss is obviously Carpenter making it. If someone else made this movie, I would still give it the same rating if it was the same exact movie. But that just adds the the sprinkles on top of the cake there, bud.
Oh yeah,
that's good stuff.
Great stuff.
And let's be honest. I mean, it's not like Ozark and I are outside your house caroling. We're not that kind of seasonal, but in the sense of we'll give you some movies that'll be appropriate for the time frame. And I mean, I know it's going to be storms and wicked weather. Last night, crazy, man. Pray for Kentucky. That shit was crazy, man. You see all that? They got destroyed down there.
Yeah, a tornado in December. That's nuts. That's bananas. It doesn't happen.
I think there was 4 down at one time. There's like hundreds of people that died.
Dude, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Missouri. It just went through like the entire little mid-section there of the United States.
I mean, we got lucky, dude. It was like 100 miles south of us. I mean, so it's like, that's crazy, dude.
Well, we also live in a valley, too, so tornadoes really don't do well in hilly valleys.
No.
So we kind of lucked out there. But, yeah, obviously, it's very cold wintertime. This movie fits what it's like outside. If you got snow outside, go watch The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
But before you watch The Thing, you have to know.
Hey, before you watch The Thing.
Before you watch The Thing, you got to know something here. Hit the music.
I missed you, mister. Mr. Ozark. Tell him if they're old enough. How old? To watch that scary stuff. It's for the parents who give up. That's right.
You know what I just noticed?
What?
You go like, you little shits.
Little shits.
That's one of your ad-libs in that.
You little shit.
Tell them if they're old enough, you little shits.
Little fucking shits.
Fucking clown, dude. Okay, so a parental rating for this movie, The Thing.
Yeah.
1982. Now, this is very interesting. This is very complicated because...
You're the man to ask.
I know. Oh, man.
You're the man to ask. Ozark is the guy because I'm just too warped with all of it. And like I said, I don't force shit on my kids, but if they're like, I'll watch it as long as it's not sex and nudity. Hey, let's get in here.
Which
and
is
the
great
thing doesn't
because
have that.
That's great. We don't have sex and nudity. We don't really have drugs. I think we got weed, maybe.
Yeah.
Whatever they look at, you can just tell them it's cigarettes.
You're just drinking, and it's not like they're getting.
I don't know, man. It's kind of tough because the fear this brings is a special kind of fear. But then again, if you're young enough, you probably won't understand that fear, and you might think it's funny. For instance, your daughter. But she's a special kind of breed, psycho. That child. Jesus Christ. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with like 12 years old. You can be 12 years old.
Okay.
Watch this and be pretty good. So that way you can kind of mostly understand it. Finally maybe feel some of the fear that it's trying to portray upon you, but not be. I mean, again, I don't think anybody's gonna have nightmares about the thing. Like it's kind of. Mm-hmm. It's realistic, but it's also very, very
specific.
unreal.
Yeah,
very
it's very specific.
Very unrealistic. It's not a common fear. It doesn't play on common everyday fears. Like,
no.
You're not going to go to Alaska and be isolated. You're not going to find some alien life form. That's it's ridiculous. If you have fear from this, like you have a wild imagination and you need to seek help. But the other things for fear, that's like we said, that's what it plays on. So I'm going to go with 12.
Okay.
12 years old.
I like that.
Once I was 12 years old and I watched the thing. Okay, so wow, fantastic movie.
Good
now
stuff.
Now we know now we know a little bit more about the horror movie, The Thing. Now we know what kind of horror movie it is. It's a 10 out of 10 horror movie. That's fantastic.
It's lovely.
And we know that you have to be 12 years old to watch The Thing.
You got to.
Yeah, so that pretty much sums it up.
12 years old.
Once I was 12 years old.
I think it's 7.
It is 7, but I'm remixing it because that's what I do because I'm fucking fresh.
Yeah, you are.
Christian Ray,
Yeah.
well, you got anything else you want to say to these lovely people that we're giving a eargasm to right now? You got anything else you want to tell these lovely people?
I sure do.
Yeah, tell me something.
Look, y'all.
For my earlobes.
Look here. It's still December. We've got some good stuff lined up for you boys and girls.
Happy holiday.
It's not like we're willy-nilly out here. We have our whole season mapped out, so you guys should be pretty pumped up with what's going on. You should be pretty pumped up. Now, I have a fun idea, Mark, because I have a bad short-term memory sometimes.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. But here's what happens. I have a few people who have requested, like close people to us, like fans that have been here since Jump Street, that have asked us to do certain episodes, and I forgot to incorporate some of them into the season because...
How fucking dare you?
I know, but it was cold, and we have to incorporate, like, we obviously have to keep up with the season as well. But, like our man Joe, he wanted to see, he's like, you guys got to do Blade. And he wants us to do Jaws. And I said, well, I got you on Jaws, but that's a summer movie, okay? You got to do Jaws in the summer. Mm-hmm. But Blade, I was like, we could definitely do that. So maybe next season we can do the request season.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's total TRL season. Total Request Live.
Yeah, and like maybe we could put out like 20 titles and have people vote, or like 30 titles and have people vote on them, and then like some of the selective ones, because there's a few people.
Don't give them options. Don't give them options. Let them think of whatever they want, okay? And then we'll put them all. We'll put them all into a hat, and we'll pick them out. How about that?
Okay. Well, we can tally them up.
We could tally them up.
What's got the most votes?
Yeah, we could do that too. There's a lot of things that we could do.
But Joe, we got you on Blade.
Sure.
I love Blade.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, like, even... I felt so bad about that. He's like, you said you were going to do Blade. I was like, fuck.
That's okay. We're going to do Blade for your ass.
Because I gave him a heads up on the season ahead of time, because he's like, man, I really do like to watch it beforehand. I was like, all right. I was like, we always listen, so...
Everybody does. We try to, It's good to get a little refresher so you can keep up with the pace of things here. So.
And I hope at all, if with any of you guys that listen to our show, watch the movies that we're talking about, even if you've seen them a million times. I hope that we can make the process a little bit better and more enjoyable the next time you watch that movie, and you can have like a little bit of tidbits that you're like, damn, that guy was a double amputee right there.
Well, that's good,
and you would have never knew that.
I hope that if you're a fan of the podcast, and I mean you're not on every episode yet, maybe you just started on this one, and there are times when you're looking to watch a horror movie. There are. You just get in the mood. It's like, well, let's watch a horror movie tonight. It's like, what are you gonna watch? I mean, finding a horror movie is a lot more difficult than finding a comedy or some shit. You know what I mean? Because
Amen.
There's so many bad ones out there. But but we're tackling the good ones here, and we'll continue to tackle the good ones.
Everybody tells us to do bad ones,
the knowns and the unknowns.
Everybody tells me to do ones that we don't fuck with a lot, and I'm like, man, the thing here at Sloppy Horror, I mean, granted, my lives can get a little spicy or whatever, and obviously I have opinions about things, but I don't ever want to shit on people heavy. So it's not my goal to take your movie and just roast it for an hour. Might be entertaining for some people, but I don't want to be a total ass. So usually if you can see us laying out a movie, we're putting a stamp of approval on it, and very rarely are you going to hear me not fuck with it, because I'm just not going to spend an hour talking about something I fucking hate, because I'm going to get more angry as I go on, and I would be at the end of it oh, you want to get the rating? It wouldn't be good. You know what? Fuck Midsummer. I'm giving this bitch a 0.5 point on casting, because it eats ass. That's how it would be, and I'd be nasty and rude.
Eating ass is a common thing these days.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's part of the food groups. Ass, it's right there at the top, above sweets. It's a real tiny part of that triangle.
It is tiny.
Ass.
Ass. Okay, so that's fantastic. Well, we're going to jump out of here, boys and girls.
Slide my tongue across your balloon knot.